I love it. I'm happy to be here.
Hey, Cliff.
Yes.
How come you don't want to talk about me? It's kind of sad, don't you think, that I get thrown out because I'm wearing a Make Canada Great hat again?
Are you leaving?
I have to. They won't let me in with my hat, and they said I got to take it off. So you go screw yourselves.
But you can wear his shirt that says support him, and you can wear a fuck Trudeau flag. You can do all that, but you can't wear that hat.
Get this, I got a picture in my phone of me and Pierre Poilievre with me wearing my blackface Trudeau sweater and this hat, and standing beside each other having a great old time at the Agricom the last time he was here, and everything was just fucking hanky-dorky. But this time they don't want to let me in because they're getting all woke. And you know what? That's not why I came here today. I came here to try to get our country back, not for them buying into this woke bullshit.
Oh, I respect it.
So I am the hell out of
here.
here.
You're going to take your hat off and join us regardless?
Nope.
No?
Not a chance.
No, but tell me you're not going to vote Liberal now.
I'd rather fight than change.
Don't tell me you're going to vote Liberal, though.
You know what? Everybody in Alberta should vote for Carney, and that way everybody then will just separate. How about that? Huh?
I think that's the plan if Carney does win. All right. Have a nice night. Okay.
People, that's real life. And look, I'll show you since someone has already said shit, I'll tell you the shit that I've been taking on the internet for not being a Pierre Poilievre critic, but for being honest and straightforward and calling a spade and calling it like it is. You go to a Pierre Poilievre rally with a hat that says Make Canada Great Again, and the campaign or private security or whomever says you got to take off that hat in order to attend the rally. Holy hell, you don't need me to tell you that that's not a good move. When you have people who are the most diehard conservative supporters leaving the rally because they have been told to comply if they want to enter, you don't need me to tell you that that's bad politicking. And yet somehow, when I tell you that that's bad politicking, and that is Pierre Poilievre perhaps taking the Aaron O'Toole losing strategy, it's not rocket science, people, but the type of rubbish that I have to deal with on the internet for telling you not what you don't want to hear because it's wrong, but because you don't want to hear it because it's true. Old stock Canadian. I don't know how old he is or what stock Canadian he is, but he says, Viva, I have been a longtime fan of yours, but you know what? You don't live here anymore, so fuck you for posting this bullshit. And I'm thinking, you're right, I don't live there anymore. My family still lives there. I'm still a Canadian citizen. I don't know where I'm going to be in 2, 3, 4 years. I have as much of a right to comment on what I see going down as anybody else. F you for posting this bullshit to suggest somehow that maybe it was wrong or incorrect information. And by the way, the only reason I even knew about this is because there was a tweet from the CEO of Rumble that said, is this real? And I see the video and I say, okay, could be taken out of context. There could have been more before or after. It could have been a Liberal plant. It could still be a Liberal plant who went there with a Make Canada Great hat again and was told to leave. Liberal plant or not, if you told the person to leave, therein lies the problem. Some people say, Viva, it wasn't Pierre telling them to leave. It was the campaign. That's a distinction without a difference. We're talking about conservatives, capital C conservatives, freedom of speech conservatives, saying that you can't enter if you have a Canadian Make Canada Great hat on. That's not conservatism. And then I call it out and I say, this isn't right for a conservative rally, and I get called the names. And then you have, by the way, that was straight from Pierre's, from the plebs live stream. And when Chris Pavlovsky tweets out, is this real? I had to go find the source, make sure it's real. It was real. It's terrible. Let's take a brief pause from this video for a word from our sponsor, 1775 Coffee. It is delicious. 1775 and Rumble just launched their first anti-aging coffee, and no, it's not something that's been brewed in Fauci's lab. They made available over 1,000 longevity bundles, blew through most of them, and after watching freedom lovers panic harder than CNN on election night, they extended the sale and added a few more of those bundles, but once this deal is gone, it is gone, much like your trust in the FDA. People, for $99, you're getting over $250 in value. 2 bags of longevity coffee infused with CAAKG to support cellular health and reduce biological age, plus an extra rare Peabody roast that makes up less than 5% of global crops, kind of like honest politicians, and exclusive merch that screams, I don't shop at Target anymore. All of it specialty grade, single origin, small batch. This isn't your sleepy chain store coffee. It is for people who read read the food labels and who love when their coffee tastes freaking delicious. And if you believe in America and freedom and not settling for weak corporate nonsense, this coffee is for you. Plus, every dollar you spend gets you entered to win the Tesla Cybertruck plus $30,000 cash. That is 99 entries locked in when you buy the bundle. And with less than a month left, this bundle guarantees you a real shot. Head over to 1775coffee.com/Viva and grab yours before the bundle is gone. Once again, that is 1775coffee.com/Viva. Thank you, 1775, for the sponsor. And now back to the video. And it's not just that it's real and terrible. It seems to be policy for the campaign. And then people are going to say, well, Viva, you're not in Canada anymore. You've been Americanized by American politics. Nobody wants to see Trump-esque imagery at Pierre's rally. Some people are going to say, Viva, it's a venue issue. They can enact whatever rules they want. They want to control the messaging. They want to make sure that when there's big panned audiences and Pierre speaking to a crowd, invigorating them, that they don't want to see Trump-esque stuff. Okay, I agree. It's a decision that seems to be being made, and it's a terrible, wrong decision. In case you had any doubts about how wrong it is, you got the CTV state-funded propaganda covering it. I don't even know if they're covering it in a favorable light or not. Canadian MAGA hats, knives, and e-cigarettes among items confiscated from Poilievre rallies. The knives, I understand, people. Violence, I mean, that's a no-brainer. The e-cigarettes, I can sort of understand. I'm not sure. Well, you don't want any fires, safety hazards. If you can't take them on a plane, fine. Maybe there's a safety issue. You don't want people ingesting cannabinoids via the vapes. Make America Great Again hats. Okay. It's American politics. It's Trump-esque politics. They don't want to see it there. It's a maple MAGA hat that you see among the confiscated items here. Maple MAGA. So they say, maple MAGA, no longer welcome at the rallies, or if you want to come in, you have to self-censor in order to come in. Why not just give them a uniform? Just, give them uniforms in order to attend a Pierre Poilievre rally. How would that fly? Some people were saying, well, at the very least, give them a different hat. Give them a Pierre hat. But you have to understand what is going on here, and it's the Aaron O'Toole losing politics of placating an enemy that can never be placated. Pierre Poilievre, in his interview with Jordan Peterson, and I'm sorry to bring it up again, but I need to, because it's very, very important to understand exactly what Pierre Poilievre said during his interview with Jordan Peterson and what he's doing now in real time. I'm going to let this play. Give it a sec.
How do you feel about the probability that if the Conservatives in Canada take power, that they'll be enticed into this global utopian delusion that seems to have enveloped so many leaders, kind of regardless of their political stripe? What do you think, if anything, can inoculate you or has inoculated you against that?
I know better.
Well, elaborate. What do you mean?
I'm not going to do that. And it will be hard because the temptation will be, this is the mistake that conservative parties around the world have made countless times. They think, well, anybody who's got a conservative mindset is already voting for me, so I can go off and chase the ideas of my political opponents, and then everyone will love me because I'll have the conservatives due to the fact that I have the name conservative, and then I'll have all these other people because I've embraced their contrary direction. And in the short term, it works because you manage to have all of these people under, and all of the different political ideologies captured in one tent. But the problem happens when the policies are a disaster.
Understand what he just said. I won't do that. I know better. I'm not going to try to placate an enemy and try to be loved by everybody and take for granted the conservative support. And yet that kind of seems to be exactly what he is doing in this campaign. So far, I don't think you need me to tell you it's not looking like it's working. We're going to get into the markets and whether or not they're able to be manipulated. I don't think it's working all that well when you have some of the most diehard conservatives complaining about being kicked out of events as influencers or being told to take their hat off if they want to attend, from the party of free speech, from the party of no woke anymore. The markets, it doesn't seem to be working. I still believe, I have also invested in the markets accordingly, that Pierre should be the next Prime Minister of Canada, but he's doing himself no favors. I do believe that Pierre is going to destroy Mark Carney in the next debate, in the debate. I do believe that Pierre is going to crush him in the English debate. He's going to crush him because on the substance of it, if they would ever, go on podcasts and express the substance, Pierre is the better candidate. I still believe everything I've ever believed about Pierre. Better doesn't mean the best candidate that Canada could have at this time, because Pierre could be a better version of himself than he's currently being right now, instead of bending over backwards, trying to placate people who will never love him. So I think Pierre's going to win. And on the policy side of things, they should. On the corruption side of things, they should. But he's doing himself no favors by acting more woke than the media, by trying to placate the media. I don't want to have them saying I'm Trump-esque. They're saying it anyhow. Embrace a sea of red maple MAGA flags, maple MAGA hats in your crowd. And don't be a different, subtler version of the person you're trying to beat. If we wanted two milquetoast politicians who are barely discernible, people would act accordingly. That's not what Canada needs right now. That's not what Canada wants. And people thinking this is a good strategy, I disagree, respectfully.